Welcome to the channel. This is my 2007 Hummer H3. Today, I'm going to be doing a review on it to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Stay tuned. Well, first thing I want to do is give you a little background on this truck and me. I've owned this truck for about 4 years. Bought this truck from a used car dealership. Don't know much about it, but I can tell you what I've been through with it, and that's the plan. Because what I'm hearing is it has a whole lot of inherited character traits that nobody wants to talk about. You'll get bits and pieces, but at this point, I just want to go through everything with you to give you a heads up on what you're up against if you're considering buying one of these things. This is a 2007 with 211,000 miles. Owned it, like I said, for 4 years. It actually has what's called the off-road package. Listen, the off-road package is a couple of shields underneath. Instead of having plastic shields, it's got some tin shields. That's about it. Now, it came with the chrome wheels, but I can tell you it's seen better days, obviously. This mirror here, we got electric tape on. That mirror got bumped in a parking lot, and unfortunately, it does not have any type of a breakaway spring or anything set up like that you would expect out of a typical mirror on any vehicle. It took a little hit, a little bump, next thing you know, it broke in half. I'm not about to buy another mirror over that. So, there's electric tape. And there's a tie wrap on there, and it's held up like that for the past 3 years. So, it is what it is, works just fine. That's what the interior looks like. Guess the dealer went ahead and put some aftermarket black leather in here that it didn't come with. And this is the end result. The net paneling back here falls off on all of them. These end caps over here on the handles fall off on all of them. These panels over here fall off on all of them. And of course this sheer emergency brake release that falls off on all of them also because of excessive use. Well, why do you have excessive use? Do you live someplace where there's hills? No, actually, this is coming from South Florida. Where that became a situation is, if you look closely, the quarters down here are kind of tight. Look how high that pedal sits. That pedal sits out and past the door jamb, which means that every time you get in this truck, if you're getting into it and you're not careful, you're hitting that pedal. So every time you hit the pedal, you put your e-brake on for no good reason when you're trying to leave, and it throws a light on your dash. So you got to release it over and over and over and over again until you figure out that, hey, those are closed quarters where you got to put your feet, and you better be really careful when you're getting into that truck, because in the dark, you're not going to see it anyway, and you're going to hit it over and over and over. Another design flaw. The pass lock was a big nightmare on this truck. I've done it probably 3 times, and it shuts the truck down, and you have to wait 10 minutes. You have to open ignition, let it sit for 10 minutes, and then you can start it. The response that GM came out with that I heard and that I read on the internet was basically it had excessive use, and that you can't put keychains and things of that matter on there or additional keys. So you have to use basically nothing. Well, my apologies. Nothing. You can't have anything on it, because if you do, again, if you have that pass lock replaced, it's going to be an issue. Of course, after that was the radio failure. Radio failure went out, acted up, power window switches went out, front differential went out, left me stranded. And this vehicle is on its third transmission. I'd love to tell you that I use it excessively and I have a gigantic trailer I pull with it and all that greatness, but it's none of the above. The transmissions kind of suck in these trucks and they will go out on you on a normal basis. There's only two types of Hummers when it comes to these transmissions. It's the Hummer that has had the transmission done, or it's the Hummer that needs the transmission done. So keep that in mind, and that's a good $2,000 to $3,000 job, but it's coming if it hasn't been done. So if you're interested in purchasing one of these vehicles, if you don't get it for pennies on a dollar, prepare for that because it's most likely coming. Oh yeah, that's right. Then there was the water pump. Then there was the cooling fan clutch. Power sunroof doesn't work anymore. Busted glove compartment latch. Just to name a few off the top of my head that I can remember. Which I found to be pretty ridiculous when I had to go to the same transmission shop for the second round, and he showed me what it was all about and why it's doing what it's doing. They're just not built all that great. Valve cover gasket leak. Tail shaft oil leak. Small lateral leak somewhere. The other thing that goes on is the leaf springs like to break. This thing squeaks and rattles like an old Ford, and the sunroof leaks all the time. CV axle had a noisy joint that was banging and clicking. Busted boots. You also got strange gremlins where sometimes the power windows work, sometimes they don't. Batteries. Did I mention batteries? It loves batteries. It likes batteries like little kids like Doritos. It just gobbles them right up. Woo! God forbid you need to park the truck for 3 days. You better bring your jumper cables or a new battery with you when you come to pick it up, because it's just gonna gobble it right up. Sometimes the switches are working, sometimes they're not. Windshield wiper motor. Yeah, the variable speed for some reason when it starts raining completely stops, and it either runs full or it doesn't run at all. Sometimes it doesn't run at all, and that makes for exciting moments with you and your Hummer. And of course, we're dealing with power steering rack issues, we're dealing with tie rod issues, we're dealing with control arm bushing issues, we're dealing with power steering pump leaks. The only thing that seems to be holding up fairly well on this vehicle, I'm gonna tell you right now, is the engine. Why? Because Isuzu built it. And believe it or not, I'm a Chevy guy. I don't want you to sit here and think that I'm not a Chevy guy and that I'm just bashing GM for building this truck, but this truck, it's a little bit of a turd. Great truck if you're gonna pull out that engine and put an LS conversion on it or something and then just go through the truck, because I'm telling you, damn near everything needs to be replaced. It's a novelty. This truck's functionality is next to nothing. I put it to the test. I put it to the push. This thing doesn't want to pull anything. This thing really doesn't want to help. It doesn't want to do anything unless it has to do with trying to get out of its own way. Now that, it'll do pretty good. It's a little torquey there, but it's slow as a turtle on the street. It feels like the damn truck is so slow, it feels like you're driving a non-turbo diesel. That's how slow this thing is. I mean, traffic is flying past you. And I'm talking about the little old ladies in the Corollas are flying past you. And it is what it is. And when you go to keep up and you're romping on this thing to keep up, it is getting horrible fuel mileage. Horrible. It's a cool truck. It's nifty. It's a great little toy. But for a daily driver, an undercover practical, blah, 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 I'm going out here and I'm doing that. Forget it, man. It's just, you're forewarned. Put it that way. You really are. Paint gave out. I'm trying to think what else is going on with this truck. Aside from excessive water leaks and strange smells. Check engine lights sporadically. I was actually told by a reliable source that between the years of 2007 and 2014, there was a whole lot of GM management problems going on. And as a result, the majority of those vehicles that were built during those times have a lot of quality issues. Apparently they seem to be poor quality. Aside from that, that's about it. Front diff actually gave out on me. Started making a bunch of noise. And this is the type of truck that when it breaks, it leaves you stuck. It's not like you limp it home. It's not like your typical Silverado or something like that where the thing acts up and it forewarns you. Nah, I've done the alternator on this truck. I've done the AC compressor twice on this truck. I've done the battery on this truck. front differential, transmission, third transmission. Headlights are horrible. They're done with, and everything's kind of overpriced for it. So it's cool looking, but after about 4 years, I'm ready to part with it. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up to let you know what you're up against when you're getting into one of these things. So if you feel the need to go out and buy, quote unquote, a real nice one for 7, 8, 9, 10,000, not much different than buying a used Mercedes or a used BMW, used Porsche. These things bite, and they're not cheap to fix. So thanks for watching. I hope I got to help you out with this situation.